So it's the end of another week, sat in an airport waiting to go home to see my family. Um, but it's been some week football wise. I've been sat in my hotel room watching incredible scenes Tuesday and Wednesday night, particularly waking up the other hotel guests screaming at the TV. It's been the most unbelievable week of football I can remember, and hugely inspired. Just reinforcing why we love this game. Two things I wanted to touch on, three things I wanted to touch on from this week, just quickly. The health of English football, where English football stands on the world stage. Just because we've got two teams through the Champions League final and two teams through to Europa League final, I don't think things have changed massively. I think it just reflects what a lot of people have been saying for a while. English football is quite a long way through a process of change, and whilst the Premier League itself and the profile of the managers obviously has improved, English football is learning to benefit, learning to help itself, and to make the most and grab the opportunities it's being given. And the coaches are learning from these the three top coaches in the Premier League, in Guardiola, Pochettino and Klopp, and their impact is being felt across the game, on players, on coaches, on clubs, on processes, on leadership, on everything. And I think English football is capitalising on that. I think there are a lot of players in those four clubs who are benefiting from this journey. Of course, a few years ago, the likes of United and Chelsea in the late 2000s, and but maybe 10 years ago or so roughly, had a lot of success in Europe. Liverpool, obviously, to a certain degree as well over the years, more intermittently. But I don't think that the basis, the foundations upon which English football identified talent, developed talent and gave talent the opportunity to play on the international stage was what it is now. So this is just another step along the way, another little elevation on that climb towards the top of world football, and we're getting closer to the top all the time. And for me, we are at the top table. So the young players that we saw, I mean, what I love, probably the one moment I loved most was obviously Trent Alexander-Arnold's quick thinking and his presence of mind on such a big game and such a critical moment of such a big game. And I think the message that's going to send out to young footballers is not just your flashy skills and your keep-ups and your goals and the traditional stuff. It's the importance of poise and presence of mind on a football pitch, and of personality. We've seen so much personality from so many English players this week. Of course, we've seen it from other players as well. But I'm just really I really want to kind of raise up the fact that there's yet more evidence that young English footballers are learning in the right environments, and they are not just learning, but they're putting into practice in these incredibly big games. And that can only be good for English football and the fortunes of the national team. I think the one thing that I would say we'd love to see, and I've just commented on Twitter, Kevin Nicholson put up a great tweet about graduating from in the Pro License group in 2016, I think it was, so 3 years ago. And whilst there's some fantastic coaches on there, for me, then the coaches who are going through the very elite levels of the coaching ladder are not necessarily being entrusted. The English coaches are not necessarily being entrusted with the big positions, Premier League management roles, Championship managers roles, leadership at the elite level of football, and that is what the Pro Licence is designed to do. So there's still work to be done there. I'm not saying that those people aren't contributing, because I think there's some of the people on that list have made big differences in slightly less conspicuous roles within the game. It's a marathon, not a sprint. But I don't feel like they're any closer to Premier League management and the very top table of world or European football management than they were 3 years ago. So more needs to be done in that space. I think only Heckingbottom and Jolly are from that list of actually managing the Football League even. And obviously only one of those is managing in League Two at the moment. So much more work to be done there. That this journey that English football's on hasn't finished yet, that's for sure. Second point I wanted to make was that team culture and the importance of a cohesive together group has been, united group has been impressed upon all of us this week. It's not always the superstars in this day of celebrity, of football superstardom on Instagram and Twitter and what have you. It's so good to see unsung heroes, and not necessarily unsung heroes, but committed, professional, motivated individuals like Lucas Moura and Divock Origi go and take the headlines. And the reason they've done that is because of the leadership that Klopp and Pochettino particularly have demonstrated. They're managing positions 12 to 21 in their squad, as well as they're managing 1 to 11, and that's what wins you trophies. Everyone is backing the manager, everyone's backing his judgment at those two respective clubs, and that's including the fans. Now, of course, it's easy to say that when you're winning things or when you're progressing, like those two clubs have done this week, but it doesn't happen by accident. It happens because the empathy that those managers have, the personality that they have, their motivation and leadership qualities are incredible. Next level, absolute top level, and we should all aspire to be more like them. But the next time a player fancies throwing one in, fancies just turning around and blaming someone for a bad pass while the game is still going, or doesn't track back, or whatever it is, I'd like them to maybe take inspiration from this week. I'd like them to realise that, like Al Pacino said in that great speech in Any Given Sunday, this is a game of inches, and every single detail matters. And if you are all pushed in the same direction, you're all improving your performance, your input, your concentration levels, your application levels by small margins, the whole team is moving forward and improving all the time, and is capable of achieving very, very near to the levels of potential it has. I'm so pleased to see the team ethic shine through. It's a quality in a football team that I admire. Well, it's not even I admire it. I demand that any side that I'm involved in gets that kind of culture nailed down, and that anyone who doesn't get on board with that, then is deemed probably not right to be in that group, because there's no room for selfish behaviour on the top stage, on the biggest stage. If you want to give of your best and you want to achieve everything that you're capable of achieving, you can't have people who are not pulling in the same direction as everyone else. As I think Paul Clayton said yesterday, Clive Woodward talked about the 6 months he had before England won the World Cup, or 5 months, and he needed to get everyone's noses pointing in the right direction. And we've seen that this week, and it's something about football that never changes for me. Tactical trends change, but team culture and the need for everyone to be together and everyone to give 100% are absolute prerequisites, bare essentials of any successful team. And I like the fact that that's been impressed this week. Finally, just wanted to say about Maurizio Sarri. Personally, I take massive motivation from that guy. He was 20 years ago, 19 years ago, he was managing in I think it was the 7th tier of Italian football. Whilst he had a full-time job as a banker, and he's now managing one of the biggest clubs in the world, and is going to a major European final. He's worked his way through many leagues. He's had success and failure, probably more failure than success, as Pochettino says. Success is not a straight line. You have ups and downs, and you have to deal with the downs as much as you have to deal with the ups, if not more, and be resilient and get through it. And I think Sarri's journey is something that inspires me. Whether he's getting it right at Chelsea, whether he's even the right manager for Chelsea long term, I think the jury's still out. But his progress in the game inspires me immensely, just as the performances of particularly Liverpool and Tottenham on Tuesday and Wednesday have inspired me immensely. And I can't say it as well as Patrice Evra, but I love this game. Have a great weekend, everyone.